You see, I have a class of damages called the two-boku damages. And this is a very, very well-known class of damages. And it's a urological condition. And what's happened is the stress that they've caused me has caused my urological condition to enlarge to the extent that I'm two-boku. And now there's no women around that want to come near me. They've caused me millions of dollars worth of harm because I'm two-boku. The stress that they've caused me has caused me a urological problem that I'm two-boku.
Well, I was in fact in the hospital.
I have physical damages that I'm going to assert at this point because I have to walk around. I have to actually probably get a third leg sewed into my pants now because of all the problems they've caused me. Ever since they started this stuff, you know, I have the two-boku damages. I don't know. Robbie, do you have any of the two-boku damages? I have
definitely
damages
from two-boku
caused by these people. It's a terrific category. It really is. It's physical manifestation of all their fuckery. It's caused me two-boku damages. It's a real thing. Look, so it's a true thing. Robbie will confirm today. You have the two-boku damages as well?
100%.
Yeah. Because all this.
Scooter, you have the two-boku damages?
Scooter's got them too.
It causes the urological swelling, and it's a terrible urological swell. You know, it's going to get to the point pretty soon. I told you I'm going to have to take all my pants, put a third leg in. I might even have to take it and throw it over my shoulder with a strap. That's how crazy it's going to get. That's what these people have done to me. It's damages. So, liberal construction is not endless indulgence. That is the edge of the lesson. I can live with that edge if the same principle runs both ways. And here it does. Judges are pedestrian. That's not an attack. You see, I have a class of damages called the two-boku damages. And this is a very, very well-known class of damages. And it's a urological condition. And what's happened is the stress that they've caused me has caused my urological condition to enlarge to the extent that I'm two-boku. And now there's no women around that want to come near me. They've caused me millions of dollars worth of harm because I'm two-boku. The stress that they've caused me has caused me a urological problem that I'm two-boku.
Well, I was in fact in the hospital.
I have physical damages that I'm going to assert at this point because I have to walk around. I have to actually probably get a third leg sewed into my pants now because of all the problems they've caused me. Ever since they started this stuff, you know, I have the two-boku damages. I don't know. Robbie, do you have any of the two-boku damages? I have
definitely
damages
from two-boku
caused by these people. It's a terrific category. It really is. It's physical manifestation of all their fuckery. It's caused me two-boku damages. It's a real thing. Look, so it's a true thing. Robbie will confirm today. You have the two-boku damages as well?
100%.
Yeah. Because all this.
Scooter, you have the two-boku damages?
Scooter's got them too.
It causes the urological swelling, and it's a terrible urological swell. You know, it's going to get to the point pretty soon. I told you I'm going to have to take all my pants, put a third leg in. I might even have to take it and throw it over my shoulder with a strap. That's how crazy it's going to get. That's what these people have done to me. It's damages. So, liberal construction is not endless indulgence. That is the edge of the lesson. I can live with that edge if the same principle runs both ways. And here it does. Judges are pedestrian. That's not an attack. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here today. We are live. As promised, I have with me the ever famous bearded fisherman from the Northeast, Mr. Michael Hennessey. How you doing there, Mike?
I'm not bad. Yourself?
I'm doing okay today. We got a lot going on today, and there was a lot buzzing around the Halesverse today about a lot of different things, including myself. We got a few people that are with us already today, and thank you for the comments. We have the beautiful and talented Ms. Marla Hughes. Hello, Marla. How are you today?
Hi, Marla.
And who else do we have? We have Pauletta, and we have Julie. We have a bunch of good people here today. This is really good stuff. So
I got mine rigged weird because I got it off a TV and an iPhone hanging off my 55-inch TV, which is 2 feet away from me. So I'm able to read the comments and, you know, and be on your your video today, which is awesome.
Well,
And I got my dog Sasha right here next to me.
Nice. It's a
So
good dog.
she's enjoying this show too. She's just relaxing. It's hot up here. You know, I'm like 200 feet high in the air on a high sky rise, so it's hot here.
I hear you. So we got a lot going on. I just published an article a few minutes ago, actually, about what's been going on with the case and some of the stuff that's been happening. But a lot of stuff has happened in the past couple of days in this Hales case in the Fed too. And I did want to go over it because, you know, everything is, oh, there's Pep. Look at this, Bearded. You're a beautiful beast. You are a beautiful beast, Bearded. But we did have a lot going on. And I do want to talk about a whole bunch. You know, there's a lot, like to recap a little bit of what's been going on. There's about 6 or 7 different storylines going on with Hales and the Halesverse. One of them is that the lawyer out of Kentucky, Larry Foreman, looks like he's in deep poo-poo in that a lot of people have sent in a massive number of bar complaints and that we should be hearing about them very, very soon. He's a Kentucky lawyer. And so the Kentucky bar is going to deal with him because he called a Florida judge a liar. And if you're a regular person like me or you, Bearded, we can call judges liars. We can say they're crazy. We can do anything we want. We have free speech rights. But when you become a lawyer, that is what they call a legal privilege. It's a difference between a privilege and a right. And you have a right to speech when you're a citizen, but you don't have the privilege to practice law. We can't just walk into a courtroom and start arguing unless you're pro se, unless Jeremy Hales invites you in. But if you have the privilege of practicing law, it comes with strings. And one of those strings is speech. You cannot impugn the integrity of the judiciary, of the court system, or anything else if you're a lawyer. And that's exactly what many people are alleging that Larry Foreman did. And Larry Foreman, he's not a savory guy. He's a weird looking guy. What I can do is, you know who Larry Foreman is, right?
Yeah, he looks like Eddie Munster. Everybody says
Eddie Munster. You know what? Let's put a picture of him up there. Let's let people decide if he looks like Eddie Munster or not. Let's see. What do we got here?
You know, I'm just saying that that's what people say. I don't say that personally. That's what other people say. You know, so.
Yeah, this is our friend Eddie Munster. Does he look like Eddie Munster to you? A little bit. I can see that.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, so it is what it is. Oh, we got Super Dave in the house. Hey everyone. There we go. Super Dave is here.
I gotta get this thing centered out more.
Center yourself out. Get it going. We're just doing stuff.
Give me a minute or two.
Richard. I got the 500. I got all the stuff. I have to still sit down with the back end and put all the crap in to get monetized. So yeah,
that's what I'm worried about. I don't care. I already got a lot of subscribers. I could care less as long as you get monetized and everything. That's all that matters.
We'll see. You know, I have to do it. I have to sit down and do all that stuff. I kind of figured out a little bit of it, but when I tell you the truth, I have about 6 or 7 big stories I'm covering and little stuff in between. So it's like I have to take a day when I have a day to just kind of figure out what I'm doing with the YouTube stuff. Like I do every once in a while, I do like an administrative day and just kind of figure out my websites, my media stuff. I'll do that probably this next week or two coming up, and then I'll probably be rocking and rolling all to go. So I'm doing okay though. I got the 500. I'm happy about that. That's the good part about it.
That's cool.
This is
it took me 6 years to even get, you know, put my name on the YouTube world. All I really do is like just to explain my life and stuff. That's all of what happened and what's going on these days and all that. That's all my YouTube channel is all about. I never meant to make any money or anything else. You know.
Super Dave gave me $2. That's cool. So
thank you.
I don't know how I get it. That's the whole thing I got to do. I got to go put in and connect accounts and all that. But
yeah, I don't
hanging out in the YouTube verse someplace. Yeah, super chat. I think Marla might have been my first super chat. I know that I think she gave me $5 the other day. I don't know how to get it yet. So I have to figure out what's happening. But I think they wait till you get like $100 or $200 before they'll cut you a check. So I still got a ways to go before I'm actually quote unquote monetized. You know, I can go out and buy sundries with all this stuff. Whoa, look at this. Pebs is there too. Wow, it's going
I'm not
through.
monetized, and I don't know if
This
I
is
ever
awesome.
will.
This is like
Yeah.
I can buy like ice cream and stuff with this. This is pretty cool. Really, this is really
When I
really
come to
cool.
Florida, we can have a grand old time, man.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. So
Hell yeah.
this is really really cool. So okay,
We
so
could go
this
down
is
down the road and get some pies, you know, down at that Italian deli down the road from you.
oh yeah, there's several Italian places. Actually, a good place called Mario's Market in Fort Myers. One of the guys whose family owns it, I went to school with up north in Staten Island, New York. I went to high school with him, and so his family owns the place in in Fort Myers. That's Brooklyn, Staten Island Italian. So you know it's good there. It's a good pork store. And then there's another one down in Naples by the airport, which is really
That's
good
the
too.
one I did the AI video with. That's the one I did the AI
Yeah,
from.
it's really
from
cool
Naples.
down there. It's like you look like you're in the warehouses, and it's like you don't know where you're going to go, and somebody's going to stab you, and then you turn and it's this big Italian market. What the hell?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's like the funniest thing in the world. But
With
it's
no
Helen.
Boomtank
Helen's
pie. Remember that Boomtank pie joke?
the
Yeah.
Boomtank pie joke. Yes,
Back in the day, yeah.
that's how they do it. So,
That's how they do it, man.
so what we're going to do is, there's John Cook. John Cook is going to be very important about what we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes. Actually, John
John
caught
Cook
something
is the
that-
man.
He caught something that nobody else caught, which is a very, very big catch. That they were talking about this stuff. And let's talk about that today. They were saying some stuff about me today, Bearded. They were saying a lot about me, and actually, I'm going to probably put up the thing. I'm going to actually let me put it up right now on the screen. This is an order that came out by the judge, okay, in Fed 2, and we'll just recap for everybody what Fed 2 is. Fed 2 is a case that Jeremy Hales started by suing Preston and Cook, right? Michelle
Yeah.
Preston and John Cook. And that's the Bad Neighbors story. And so he started doing that, and that's Fed 1. He sued them in federal court because he says he's a person who's from Ohio, right? And he's not, but it's about people in Florida, so he did what's called diversity jurisdiction. And so when he did that, he did a situation where, he filed the case and he said that there were signs and he said that there was all this other stuff. And then he wanted to sue everybody and stop everybody from talking about him who would turn. Sorry about that.
Gainesville.
He turned around and wanted to sue everybody else. So that became Fed 2. And Fed 2 was all these people in the case, okay? And there were a whole bunch of people, and some of them are on the chat today, right now. It was like Lisa Lee and Robbie Kesey and Super Dave and Ray Bone Crusher and John Cook and Michelle Preston were in it as well. And they said that there was a vast grand conspiracy. And the vast grand conspiracy was that people were saying bad things about Jeremy Hales. They were making quote unquote unauthorized statements about Jeremy Hales. You know this case, right? Right, Bearded? You know all about
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
the ecosystem, the anti-Hales ecosystem. Well, what happened with that case to this point, Bearded?
Wasn't it like 8 people got written off, you know, and they dismissed,
right?
Yeah, they dismissed, but there's you and Michelle Preston on there. That's
Michelle's in bankruptcy, and I'm still there about what they're calling revenge porn, right? They're saying there's a bad video, and that there's no more conspiracy, there's no more vast Lanham Act violation, anything else. Now, was John Cook one of the people who was dismissed from that case, Bearded?
Yeah.
So he's had a big victory back in April when this case got dismissed, right?
Right.
And we're in the middle of June. We're a couple of months away, right?
Yeah.
So this is on the screen right now. I know Marla was on the case and she got dismissed. Look at this. What's on the screen? Look at the date on this.
I just can't believe it takes that much that long for this to happen.
You see this 6/15 of 26?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And then if you look down on that day, that was 2 days ago. Look who the lead plaintiff is in this case. Who's the lead plaintiff?
John Cook and ETL defendants.
And John Cook. And how is it? Is John Cook still in this case, Bearded?
No, he's done. It's a wrap.
How is he the lead defendant in the case if he's still in the case? Looks like somebody fucked up pretty hardcore, right?
Yeah.
Looks like
Yeah.
Hinkle doesn't know what's going on. Judge Hinkle. Okay, this is what he said about me. Okay. Order overruling the additional objections to the June 2nd order. The defendant, Richard Luthmann, filed objections to the magistrate judge's non-dispositive order of June 2nd, which did not lead to file a reply memorandum. The order of June 11th overruled the objections. Now Luthmann's filed additional objections that include a baseless suggestion that the clerk's office mishandled the original objections. Perhaps the new objections suggest because opposing parties infiltrated the clerk's office or perhaps bribed clerk's office employees. The assertion is detached from reality. You see those words? The assertion is detached from reality. Well, I wouldn't say it's detached from reality. Anybody who's followed Jeremy Hales, and people on the chat, some of them have been following me much longer than I have. The fact of the matter is, he said before, he's talked about the court personnel at the Levy County Court, the court clerks and the personnel that he talks to them. Am I right about that? Helen, John Cook, some of the other people. Have you heard? Do you remember? And I'll refresh everybody's recollection in a minute. But they've done that, so it's not something new. Number one, that Jeremy has claimed himself out of his own fat mouth that he can control the clerks. That's number one. There's Lisa Lee. Lisa Lee's here. But he claimed it, number one. Number two, I called up the clerk's office. I had emailed the stuff in, or I actually regular mailed it. I didn't even have no e-access. I had regular mailed everything in, right? And I on a Thursday it was received. UPS told me with an email that it was received by Mueller at the Northern District of Florida courthouse. Friday at about 3:30, 4 o'clock, I called them up at the court. I'm like, you guys have had this for a day. What's going on? Are you putting this up, or what's going on with the docket? And the lady there, Kelly, the assistant clerk, said, there's no documents here. We have no documents for your case. There's no documents. But I told you that Mueller is signed for it. There's no Mueller here. Go check the state court. Go away. That's what she told me. So given those two things, that Jeremy has control of the courts and clerks from his own admissions, he's controlled the Levy County clerks before. He has people on the inside. And that a lady said that the documents were not there in the courthouse that UPS said were there, and she told me to go away. I filed the document. And this guy says that the assertion is detached from reality. So I'll take that down right now. We're going to go through the article that I just put out, because this talks about all these issues, Bearded. But do you think that I was fair to say that, Jeremy and Randy Schock and his lawyer could be messing around with court personnel? Is that outside the scope of possibilities, given what he said before?
I really wouldn't pass anything by anything right about now, because I've seen some crazy shit that I never even thought would happen in a million years of, over the past 5 or 6 years throughout this story. I've been watching this for a long, long time, and my name got mentioned a few times, which I never thought that would ever happen. And, because I'm the most peaceful dude on the face of the planet, I just can't believe that it's gone to this level with everything and infiltration. But no, I wouldn't pass anything by them, to be honest with you, because, just like wrestling, you never know. Anything could happen, anything could happen.
That's why they play the games, right? They say that's why they play the games. So I'm going to share this article that I just did, and let's put it up there. Okay. And this is the article that I just did. So it's up on the screen so everybody can look at it. This is available on Substack. It's also available on FL Gulf News. It's also available on Newsbreak, and it's all in a bunch of other places, right? And right, Dave's 100% right. Didn't someone say they had a friend in the courts? Hold that thought, because we're going to actually have it come out of his mouth. Jeremy Hales said, he started talking about the Levy County people. Some of the people in the Hales ecosystem have said that there are people that they talk to. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and I'm not making this out of ether. This is stuff that's been happening. And see, Helen confirms it. This is enough for me. If as a journalist, Dave believes something happens. Helen says that they did, that she confirms it. And then I go out and I can find a video that says that, and I can run with that as a journalistic piece. John Cook even says it. I know they have a friend in the clerk in Levy County and another woman. Okay, so this is a big issue. It's not coming out of nowhere. It's not highly delusional, like our friend Judge Stinkle has said. So what I'm going to have here is, let me start reading this for everybody and see what happens here. This is Judge Hinkle's reality problem. After Tully's, Shockett's email, and the latest detached from reality order, Fed 2 becomes the circus Hales brought to Gainesville federal court. So the whole story of this article is, I think we can officially say, because of this detached from reality order, that this case is now a circus. You know, it was a circus before, but it's become a full circus. You have a judge saying that things are detached from reality, but I will show in this article how things are not detached from reality the way that the judge is saying, that that's actually detached from reality on the other end. And so there I said, Judge Hinkle's reality problem. Order calls Luthmann detached from reality as Fed 2 becomes a media circus involving Hales and Shockett. They're the ones that are detaching reality. These two, this one and that one. Those are the two that are detaching reality. Luthmann, note. Judge Hinkle's problem is not that he insulted Luthmann. Luthmann has been insulted by Don Rickles level professionals. That's true. I've been insulted by professional insult.
Shit, I insult you every week, man.
I know you insult me all the time, and you're a professional. The
Every
problem
week,
is that
man.
Judge Hinkle may have proved Luthmann's point. If Luthmann is detached from reality, why is he being measured like Cravath? Cravath is a big-time law firm, big-time white shoe law firm, you know, thousands of attorneys globally, with a fax machine and 4 associates, meaning that I have little minions running around. Jeremy Hales calls him paint chips, sues him over satire, and then demands lawyer-grade precision. Randy Shockett files certificates, shifts theories, calls it advocacy, fine. But if the Fed 2 case now pending in Gainesville federal court becomes a circus, do not blame the clown. Blame the man who brought the tent and dragged him into the ring. This piece is Judge Hinkle's reality problem, first available on Florida Gulf News. So, me and Rick LaRiviere put this one out. The circus came to court because Hales dragged it there. And that's what I think. The people, I'm going to stop right here. What do people think? Is this Jeremy Hales's problem? Is this what Jeremy Hales the one that's causing this issue? Or is this Rich Luthmann? Or is this the judge? You know, who's the one that's to blame? That's the poll that's in this story. Is it Randy Shockett for allowing Hales to do what he does? Is it Hales for doing it? Is it the judges for not throwing this case out? Or is it me, Rich Luthmann, now, because of the way that they're playing the game? I've decided to play it right back at them. You know, I want to know who people think's the problem are. That's what I think it is. I think that's the biggest. What do you think, Bearded?
Oh man, it starts from the top down, man, and all I see is people, honest people, defending themselves. And I've watched this thing from day one, and my opinion, sometimes you do say the wrong shit. Don't get me wrong. Everybody does. Nobody's perfect in life, you know, but the majority of I think, in my opinion, the majority of all the problem is the head of the castle, you know, the Wizard of Otter Creek, so to speak. He thinks he is. Yeah. And really, I mean, if he was a smart man, he would just lick his wounds and just leave everything, buy his house on that island and go, you know. And because this story is taking on a mind of its own, and it's branched off in many, many directions. And originally, I really, really wanted everybody to just get along. Even Jeremy Hales, I wanted him to get along with everybody else. And that was my main focus, is like be a peacekeeper. But I learned very quickly that can't happen.
No,
and
they shoot you. They send the person in for peacekeeping, and then they go and they shoot you. They shoot you.
Wouldn't believe the shit that they said to me over the years, man. They said, "Oh, we wish you died. Wish you got hurt more when you hit the wall on your Harley." You know, they said some rotten shit to me, man. And finally, I just didn't give a shit. You know, I doxed myself. I'm in Meriden, Connecticut. Anybody wants to come find me, go ahead, man.
Yeah, fuck them, man.
Know?
All right, so let's get back to this story.
Sorry,
No. That's how we do. We got to stop and do some comment, and then we talk. So here's the two of them. You know, that's Hinkle and Bolitho. All right, and then we have some of our favorite people, two leaves in a pod, right here. Okay, so let me read. Richard Luthmann went on 2 Leaves in a Pod and said the quiet part out loud. Jeremy Hales has used Gainesville federal court litigation as content for years. And now Luthmann's doing the same thing back to him. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing it back. That's the entire Fed 2 problem in one sentence. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. And there's 2 Lees. And then there's Robbie with an alligator.
Oh.
The Halesverse cheered when Judge Zachary Belitho denied Luthmann to file a reply. They cheered again when Judge Robert Hinkle backed him up. They thought it meant Luthmann had lost the plot. They missed the bigger story. Luthmann turned the ruling into a media weapon, a Substack piece, a Florida Gulf News piece, and a live show lesson on judicial time, legal class privilege, and the ordinary nature of federal judges. And I did the tubo coup on the way in, and I'll do it on the way out. We played the tubo coup from the other night. I explained to everybody about tubo coup damages that have been caused to me. And Robbie said that he has tubo coup damages as well. Do you know what tubo coup damages are, Bearded? Have you heard of them?
Yeah, I heard you the other night explaining them. Yeah, I get
it's
it.
a very serious class of damages.
Put it over your back and
it causes the urological condition to swell uncontrollably to the point where you have to actually open up your pants and sew a third leg in sometimes because of the stress that the Jeremy Hales people cause you. It just causes you to swell uncontrollably, and it caused it to be the point where women won't even come near me. It's so
it's
big
the worst blue
that
balls
women
ever.
won't come near me. And so it is what it is. Oh, here we go. So judge attacks it. We're going to get to this. So judge is attacking somebody with a disability. We're going to get to this when he talks about. We talk about this right now. Okay, we talk about this. I've been watching Swamp Bros lately. It's a great show, ahead of its time in my opinion. It's a very good show. Robbie puts together a good show. Helen, oh my God, yes, this is tubo coup damages, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll discuss it a little bit later on. But let's get back to the story. On the live stream, Luthmann said he was having fun in Fed 2. He argued a legal case is a perfect catalyst for media because Hales already proved that model. That's the part that Hales and Randy Shockett never seem to understand. You not sue a broke, bombastic, paint chips eating, mentally impaired journalist over satire and then cry when he turns the complaint into a bonfire. And there I am. I'm wanted for crimes against common sense. Right? It's pretty terrible. The FBI Humors Division is after me. And so Hales makes YouTube content from litigation. Luthmann makes litigation from exposure. That's not chaos. That's symmetry. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. That's a very important rule, the goose and the gander. If the plaintiff's business model is polymop, protraction of litigation, multiplication proceedings, then the defendant is allowed to document it, mock it, and broadcast it. Hinkle's latest order throws gas on the fire. So Hinkle didn't do the smartest thing, okay? This ruling, he thinks he's showing he's the king, but he doesn't understand that this is a circus. So if you're the king of the circus, it's still a circus. And that becomes a problem for him because he looks a little bit ridiculous. And a man in his position cannot afford to be made to look ridiculous, if you know what I mean. Then came the latest Judge Hinkle order. In overruling Luthmann's additional objections, Hinkle wrote that Luthmann had made a baseless suggestion that the clerk's officers handled earlier objections, possibly because opposing parties had infiltrated or bribed clerk's office employees. Then came the money line. The assertion is detached from reality. Right? He wrote it right here. The assertion is detached from reality. And here's that order. And then he orders it, and he signs it. Judge Hinkle, blah, blah, blah. That is the kind of phrases judges write when they think they're ending an issue. In this case, it may have opened 3 new ones. And that's what's happening here. Every time the judge does, an order, a piece of paper, he opens up new issues, and he opens up about three new issues and 30 live streams. Okay, 30 different pieces of content on YouTube. And that's what the case is here. And I'm not going to try to stop that. I'm going to lean into it. That's what I think is the thing here. Now, and we already have confirmation from the audience here. And you tell me, I know a few people have said already. First, Hales himself has told the audience that he has people inside the Levy County Courthouse. Luthmann points to old Hales live stream clips where Hales discusses courthouse contacts, ex parte style access, and argues that suspicion of courthouse side influence is not pulled from the moon. And I'll play a few of these. Let's see if these are you can hear these. I'm going to play this. Bearded, tell me if everybody can hear this or not. I'm going to play it.
All right, because I got the TV behind me, so
Where are we going?
All right.
We're not
I can
going
hear
this
it.
is
anywhere, but we
Okay, it's not on the. I'll pull it from something else in a second. Hold on, let me pull it out from another thing. Hold on, I have it right here. I want to pull it from so you can. I have it like indexed to the actual part where he discusses it. So that is where we are going to pull it from. Here it is. Where is this?
I got the time delay on the TV. I can hear it perfectly.
It's perfect. Okay, so if I play it, then it'll come out good.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Let me see.
I could blast this thing too. It's like a 200-watt box. I got it hooked into my TV. So this old folks home, man, they can rock and roll sometimes.
Oh, here it is. I'm gonna use this thing. This is gonna show. This is called Filmot, and it'll play the thing. So I'm gonna share this tab right now. Now tell me you can hear this.
The staff, Levy County Courthouse.
Yeah, I can hear it.
All I got to say.
Stein drop.
That's right. I just dropped the Stein on you. I just dropped the Stein on you.
Give it up for Jeremy and the rest of the team.
So that's one thing. I have about 40 of them here. We talk about the courthouse. Here's the second one.
Paranoid much?
The courthouse staff know he's out of control. I'm guarantee you, the higher ups know he's out of control, and so
Thanks,
there
Don.
is a major issue
Yes,
right
next
now.
time, Don.
And I realize you all know if we would have gotten a real judge like the Ohio judge, that we would not be at 150,000 with no end in sight.
So that's another one of him talking about. Let's see this one.
Staff members.
This one they have the bomb threat. Okay, we're not even going to talk about that. This is the what we're dealing with here, where he talks on his live stream on several occasions about the fact that he is he's got connections in the courthouse. And so we'll go back to the story, but I put them in the article so you can take a look. But say whether that proves anything in the Gainesville federal courthouse is another question, but it makes the issue germane. So yes, if Jeremy Hales is going to go out there and say that he has control over clerks in courthouses in one place, then it's a situation where you have to assume that he's bribing people all over the place. And it might not just be him, Bearded. Somebody already on the chat said the judge that they think it's Shockett that might have the better connections. And somebody just made a good point over here, Helen, about the Ohio judge, like the Ohio judge, the one you can pay off. So that's the problem here. It's that there's a question of whether or not Jeremy Hales is acting honestly. And the question is coming from Jeremy Hales' own mouth, some of the statements that he's making about the court staff and this and that and the other thing. So that's a problem. You're supposed to be courteous to the court staff, fine, but you're not supposed to understand their internal workings and everything else, unless, of course, you're looking to, do something untoward. You're looking to buy somebody off. So the court should have initiated an investigation after the first time they bragged about having insiders. Then if they don't, humiliate them into not repeating it as a fact. That's pretty good. That I think that's a good idea, Marla. The fact that he's claiming that, it's an appearance of impropriety. How can you trust the courthouse when you say that that this is happening? Okay. Can he say these things for entertainment value? Well, Dave, that's the whole point. If this is all entertainment value, how can he file lawsuits about the words that you said or the things that I did or anything that the actions that you made? You had to deal with 1.5 years of this bullshit with this guy before you got dismissed. And it wasn't entertainment value when he filed the lawsuit. So he's made it not entertainment value. He's made it connected to litigation. All this stuff is presumably true from his mouth. If he comes out and says, "Oh, this is all entertainment," then his cases all fall apart. Then he becomes a terrible situation at that point. Michelle, look at Michelle's here. What happened in Lucas County? Been unfair. I've been told I don't even know what to say. It's true. That's very, very true. What's happening? All right, so let's get back to this.
Michelle Preston.
Oh,
They had a Harley Grace for me.
It's the truth, right? It's the truth. Michelle's right there. Yeah. So Captain Cook. I like that. John is Captain Cook. That's a good one. Okay. So let me talk about this now. Okay. Does it prove what's going on in the Gainesville federal court? Maybe, maybe not, but it's enough to ask the question. And that's the point. In any event, Judge Hinkle's blanket detached from reality language is a gift to Luthmann's next argument. If the court believes Luthmann's thinking is detached from reality, why is the court holding him like a polished white shoe lawyer with a litigation department? Why am I being held to a high standard of a lawyer or even a litigant that shouldn't get deference, right? If I'm crazy, if I'm batshit crazy, detached from reality, shouldn't I get every, get every benefit? Shouldn't the court go out of its way to make sure I know what's going on? Second, the order's caption still reads Jeremy Bryant Hales versus John Cook, even though John Cook was dismissed months ago. The docket shows Cook was terminated on April 24, 2026, and the clerk's judgment dismissed claims against Cook and others with prejudice. And this is what Luthmann said. This is my quote. Senior status does not mean senile status, Luthmann said. But if Judge Hinkle is going to call me detached from reality, I'm going to ask whether the court's own caption is also stuck in a different procedural universe. Hinkle and Bolitho look like they could pilot the Millennium Falcon. And then we have our picture here with Hinkle and Bolitho piloting the Millennium Falcon. I actually like this picture a lot. This is a very, very nice picture. What do you think of this picture, Bearded? Do you think that they look like they could pilot the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah, I think so. They got Chewbacca on side of them, right? That's Chewbacca. Right?
That's Judge Bolitho in a different universe.
Yeah, Chewbacca.
Yeah, Chewbacca. We could call him Judge Chewbacca from now on, probably, right?
You never know nowadays, man. I mean, good old Papa Trump, man. He might announce another being out there. You never know with this whole deal.
If Chewbacca's were the aliens out there, then I would be cool with that. Chewbacca's a pretty damn good alien. So if we got like Yoda's and Chewbacca's, those are like the good ones. But I don't want any of the shitty ones, I like the
Land of the Lost. It just keeps on going and going and going and nonstop. The Land of the Lost, and never stops. You know, it had 2 episodes, but it jumped back to the first one. It never stopped. That's what I like, Land of the Lost. That's what I feel. Land of the Lost is
pretty good.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I'm the Land of the Lost here.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
You can call anyone anything now. You are insane as per the judge. I guess I can. I guess that's where we can start. Now, I might actually, let me know in the chat for the next time we do this.
I could even comment on this while we do this.
Yeah, start commenting. Dave said, keep the gray aliens forward. Well, I'm going to say, we have these two. There are very iconic pairs out there. You know, there's Batman and Robin, and there's Starsky and Hutch, and there's a Lone Ranger and Tonto. Well, we did an iconic pair here, Han Solo and Chewbacca. And we had Judge Hinkle and Magistrate Bolitho starring as that iconic pair.
We got the good guy and the bad guy, too.
For who?
We got the good guy and the bad guy, me and you.
Yeah, we have it. We're an iconic pair. We can get an iconic pair out there. What iconic pair? Batman and Robin, maybe? I don't know. What iconic pair should they be next? Give me some ideas, who they should be, what we should have in future episodes, iconic pairings for Judge Hinkle and Magistrate Bolitho, that they're paired in this case. And since I'm, batshit crazy as per the judge, let's figure out what we want them to be. So let me continue with the story and then continue to read. And then I have this here, and we just started the chat, the votes just opened. And we have a week. I give a week on these. Who created the Gainesville Fed 2 circus?
Yeah, the votes just opened.
Hales brought the tent. Shockett lit the stage. Hinkle fed the fire. Luthmann loves the ring. Right? But majority, overwhelming right now, almost 60% says Hales bought the tent. I think that's the consensus view. It's that this is all, Jeremy Hales stuff. And then we have this, I think Robbie will probably like this. NCAA 2027 national champion. The Florida Gators are on top. So everybody in Gainesville is going to really like this. They have a 26%, about 1 in 4 chance of winning the whole thing next year. Okay. So let's go to the next part. Paint chips, accommodations, and the problem Hales created. Here's the real trap. Hales has allegedly spent months calling Luthmann paint chips on YouTube. According to Luthmann's local Rule 7.1 accommodation email to Randall Shockett, Hales has repeatedly used the nickname to suggest Luthmann suffered brain damage from eating lead paint chips and even implied he continues to do so. And I put in a whole bunch of videos where he mentions me as paint chips. Okay? And so this is in here if you wanted to look. And every one of them, look, it's John and Michelle. and they're using John and Michelle to get audience and everything else. And in there, they make fun of me as paint chips, that I'm some type of mentally retarded person who eats lead paint chips. So there's an email to Shockett, and I'll put that up in a second. Luthmann does not adopt the insult. He weaponizes the notice. If Hales publicly portrays Luthmann as cognitively impaired, then Hales cannot turn around and demand that federal court treat Luthmann like a lawyer with unimpaired judgment, full ECF access, and support staff and professional litigation training. He can't treat me like this because I'm batshit crazy. I don't have ECF access. We know that. I have no support staff. I have impaired judgment. And I really don't have professional litigation training at this point because you need all the other stuff to have the litigation training. That is why Luthmann's email to Shockett matters. And I'm going to put this up on the screen. This is an email I sent to Shockett yesterday. I sent them a bunch of them, but this is a meet and confer email that I sent to Randall Shockett. And I'm going to hit share this tab. And this is a meet and confer. This was sent yesterday at 11:40 p.m. Local Rule 7.1b conferral, intended motion for reasonable procedural accommodation. Mr. Shockett, I write pursuant to Northern District of Florida, Local Rule 7.1b to confer regarding my intended forthcoming motion for reasonable procedural accommodation. This motion will seek at a minimum an order providing the following relief: additional time where appropriate, liberal construction of my pro se filings, courtesy electronic service at my email address in addition to any required paper service, meaningful opportunity to cure procedural defects before forfeiture, waiver, dismissal, contempt, or sanctions are imposed, and such other reasonable procedural safeguards are necessary to ensure meaningful access to the court. Now, honestly, ladies and gentlemen, what do you think of that? Right? What do you think about that? The fact is that if he says that I'm crazy, shouldn't I get reasonable accommodations? Let's see, what does this say? Rich, did you eat paint chips in the federal correctional facility? I don't even know. I think that I ate radiation, actually. I think the feds poisoned me with radiation because where I was, and where the judge and Hales eat the same paint chips. I have an excuse. If I was at a federal correctional facility that was on a nuclear testing ground in Allenwood, Pennsylvania, that's where I was. And I was fried by the federal government. Let's say my brain is fried by radiation, nuclear radiation, by the federal government. I have an excuse. What is Jeremy Hales and Randy Shockett's excuse? What do you think about that, Bearded?
I was born in the 70s, man, 1970, and I remember a huge thing up here in New England about paint chips in New York City and everything. They made a huge deal. Even one of the houses I bought, I owned two houses, but one of the houses, when I converted into a sober house, I had to go over all that lead paint. I think that's just bullshit, how they put names to people like that, because it's not, why do shit like that? It just doesn't make any sense to me, I mean, if they don't like you, at least call you an asshole. Don't make little side comments that will affect a lot of people. I had a brain injury, a real bad one, so I could relate to that one.
Well, you know where paint chips came from, right? And I'll put that article up, not now. I'll put it up another day.
That's what I'm saying.
I said that Megan Fox was a eugenicist and Jeremy Hales was a eugenicist because he's an anti-Semitic person. The rabbi said that, and that's my opinion, that he's an anti-Semitic person because he called Bruce Matskin Deuce Foreskin, which is an anti-Semitic statement, I think, in my opinion. But what I think happens is, I said put that out there, and then they said that certain children should die. Children who eat Tide Pods and the parents who let them should die. Let the children die. And that's a very eugenics statement. That's like one of these master race type statements. That's how I felt about it. They said, let the children who eat paint chips die, because you have kids that grow up through no fault of their own, in the projects. The parents don't have it. They're living in the projects or in poor housing where they have the lead paint. It's not their fault, or even the parents' fault. The parents might not even have known that that there's lead paint there, or they can't do anything about it. Yeah. And then they come and attack me and call me paint chips at that point, and say that I eat lead paint chips because I said that they had no respect for black and brown or low-income children that were, had paint chips, had brain damage because of the situation. They're very, very sad. people. They're very sad and sick people. They're sick people is a good word for them. They're very
I
sick.
just want one quick question for you. When you were younger, did you ever have paint chips Parmesan? Was that
No
the whole
paint
problem?
chips Parmesan for me. I had a lot of
Okay.
Parmesan in my day, but no
Yeah.
paint chips Parmesan.
All right.
All right.
Glad
So
you answered that.
we're going to go back to this email that I sent to Shaka. The basis for the motion is straightforward. And this is a motion. I'm going to be filing this motion. So next week we're going to have a motion, more polymop. The basis of the motion is straightforward, not limited to defendant self-reporting. I am proceeding pro se. I am not an ECF filer. I am not counsel. I do not receive the same electronic notice as attorneys. I have previously identified physical, mental, emotional, financial, and legal disabilities affecting my ability to litigate this matter in the same matter as a represented party. Those limitations are not hidden, technical, or newly manufactured for litigation. They are known to plaintiff and have been part of his public dispute between the parties. Indeed, plaintiff Jeremy Hales has repeatedly referred to me on his YouTube broadcast as paint chips, apparently suggesting that I suffered brain damage from eating lead paint chips in the past and at times implying that I continue to do so. I have all this listed here, all the paint chip stuff. And if you click on those links, and that's in the story, I don't want to go back to the story, I'll show you. But you can see him calling me paint chips all the time. And if he calls me paint chips, that must mean that I'm loony, all right? I do not adopt plaintiff's insult, but his repeated public characterization demonstrates that plaintiff Hales and his counsel, Pocket Rocket Shocket, cannot credibly claim surprise that I suffer from apparent cognitive, emotional, psychiatric, or behavioral impairments affecting litigation conduct. The judge said it. Plaintiff chose to sue the very person he publicly portrays as mentally impaired. Having made that choice, plaintiff should not be heard to demand that I now be treated as though I were a licensed attorney with unimpaired judgment, full electronic access, and professional litigation capacity. The court's June 15th order further underscores the issue. The court characterizes one of my assertions as detached from reality. I do not concede that characterization, but I don't, because Jeremy Hales actually admitted and he bragged that he had people in the courthouse. So it's not detached from reality. It's based in reality. If the court views my reasoning or perception in that way, then the appropriate response is not to hold me to the same practical standard as a licensed attorney with unimpaired judgment. The appropriate response is reasonable procedural accommodation. That's what I asked for, Bearded. Reasonable procedural accommodation. The Americans with Disabilities Act. You've heard about that, right?
Yeah. I'm disabled, and
Yeah.
like it really means a bunch of shit out here, but maybe in your case it will work out. In mine, it really didn't. You know.
The 11th Circuit is behind me, Bearded. They require a liberal construction of filings. They have to look to substance over labels when reviewing pro se. It sounds like these people are labeling me. You can't do that. Supreme Court's held pro se pleadings are subject to less stringent standards than those drafted by lawyers. I recognize that pro se status does not exempt a litigant, me, from procedural rules. I'm trying to comply to the rules, but I'm not requesting exemption. I'm not asking for immunity. I'm asking for reasonable procedural accommodation so the rules are applied fairly and in a manner consistent with meaningful access to the courts. The disability accommodation principles are also well established. The Supreme Court had recognized the fundamental importance of access to the courts for disabled persons. Hennessey versus Lane is a very important case. People know about that's one of the touchstone cases of modern disability law. Tennessee v. Lane. Tennessee v. Lane. It's about access.
You know what my last name is?
What's your last name?
Hennessy.
Hennessey. This is Tennessee. Tennessee,
okay.
not Tennessee, not Hennessy. Disabled persons are protected by federal disability law and related access principles, including the ADA and the Rehabilitation Act framework. Through Article 3, courts may proceed through court policy, inherent authority, due process, and case management powers in simple Title II. The requested accommodation here is modest and procedural. It does not alter the merits, change the substantive law, prejudice Jeremy Hales, or impose any undue burden. And I talked a little bit about Jack Weinstein. He said that I was batshit crazy as well in 2019. And Weinstein is not just any judge. He's the judge. He's not alive anymore. He's dead. But he wrote the book on evidence. The book is called Weinstein on Evidence. He made an evidentiary finding. The fact is that Luthmann is batshit crazy. So I asked him by the close of the day, I don't know if he sent the email yet. I've been on the air. He didn't send me an email before I got on the air. He likes to ignore my emails and then claim that he didn't
Well,
have enough
dude,
time.
you are batshit crazy, man. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. You're fucking out of your
Gee,
mind.
thanks.
You're off your rocker,
I'm not
man.
going to call you as a character witness.
Well, you know
Okay.
what? I'm happy, and I'm grateful you're my friend, not my foe. Put it that way.
There you go.
Yeah,
So
man.
that's why Luthmann's email to Shock It matters. He asked for reasonable accommodations, additional time where appropriate, little construction of pro se filings, courtesy electronic service, a chance to declare deflects before forfeiture, waiver, contempt, or sanctions. He cited pro se solicitude, access to court doctrine, Weinstein's prior warnings, and the dangers of ignoring mental health problems, especially in practicing lawyers. So at this point, what do the people think? Right? What do you think? This is something that I don't think that they can have a big. I personally think that forced name with George, they ran with it. That's one thing. Okay. American Disability Act versus Judge Boob. I think that the American Disability Act is something that's very important. I think that that's an issue. And look at this. This judge is top notch. He's a judge and a doctor. What do you think of that, Bearded? Do you think this judge has made himself a doctor?
I don't know what to say about that one, about a doctor, but I don't know. I had problems with judges, man, over the years, and I seen.
They know a lot more than they do, right? They don't stay in their lane,
Dude,
right?
I've seen so much corruption out here in Connecticut, just in this town alone over the past 10 years, it'll make your head spin. Just stuff I told you off the air, Richard. It's crazy. These people, they think they own everybody else, but we do have a say. Why do you think I carry my Constitution with me? I got it right here.
That's right. Good for you.
I bring it with me no matter where I go, especially last night. I almost got jumped like 4 or 5 city kids, man, just for saying, excuse me. I said, excuse me to somebody, and this little 30 in the store, and everybody, and then there's a crowd of people. It was crazy. But it was
Candy
nuts.
says, it's my opinion, Hales does not believe he has to follow the ADA. Helen says, Candy, I think Jeremy Hales thinks he doesn't have to follow any rules. I think that's right. I think that he thinks he's exempt from the rules. So let's continue.
Well, rules for he, not we, or something like that.
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Yep.
Then Hinkle added his own phrase, detached from reality. At that point, the accommodation argument stopped being abstract. Hinkle supplied the exhibit. The judge ordered this. It's part of the order. That is not a demand for immunity. It is a demand for procedural sanity. If the court believes Luthmann is unstable, it should not spring lawyer-grade traps on him and call that justice. The law does not require the judiciary to admire pro se filings. It does require the courts to read them with some practical understanding of who is writing them. And he's already before said that the pro se submissions were rambling and long and this and that and the other thing. And so he's not giving me a reply, and now he's saying that I'm crazy. So we're getting to the point where this judge may very well verge into the area of bias against the mentally ill. He says I'm mentally ill, and he doesn't like me because of it. But we may get that. I don't know. I'm going to give this judge a chance, though, because he looked pretty good as Han Solo. All right. Randy Shockett's record problem gets worse. So the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, that I'm asking for a reply is because Shockett put in these papers, and I put in a show cause order that asks for Jeremy Hales to come in and show cause before the court because he mischaracterized the entire video. That's the central part of the Fed 2 case now against me. And so, Beard, what do you think about this? The way that Luthmann would have things done is Luthmann would say, let's everybody come into the court right now, and we'll put this video, play the video. That's the only real issue in this case. And the judge will decide right away, is this a real issue that we're going to waste everybody's time over, or should you just get the hell out of my courtroom? Do you think we should do it that way, the Luthmann way, play the video as soon as possible, or choice B, the Jeremy Hales way and the Randy Shockett way? Let's wait months and maybe years before the court even sees the video, do tons of hours of untold hours of content, and Randy Shockett bill hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then we watch the video, and then the judge says, "There's nothing to this video. It's not pornography. It's not revenge, and it's not anything that isn't protected by the First Amendment." What do you think, A or B? Would you think is a smarter way to do it?
B, to be honest with you.
You want to go through? You want to go through the whole way? You want to do the Jeremy Hales way, where we wait years before we get an answer, or the court dismisses it right away?
Well, I'm not really into that video too much, and I've told you that before. You know, it kind of makes me sick. But regardless of the fact, they're screwed no matter what. You know, if they want to get it done, they want you to play it right away, they're going to scrutinize it that way on all the channels regardless. And Megan Fox doesn't want to watch the video. And to be honest with you, I don't either. Or there's the other way, the Jeremy Hales way, and add Polymop to the mix. That might keep a lot of people employed, though, dude. You know?
Well,
I mean,
that's it.
for a long time.
I'm starting to agree with you now. You know, I wanted this case to be over quick. I want to get this in front of the judge. And I'm at the position where, do you want to watch the video or no, Bearded? I'll leave it up to you. Should we play it for everybody?
Yeah, go ahead, man. I gotta get up for a minute anyway.
All right, this video is the video that is the reason why this case is in court. And Jeremy Hales, to set this up, thinks that this video is some type of a violation of the Florida revenge porn statute. That I somehow took an explicit image of him having sex with a journalist that he believed he had a reasonable expectation of privacy in, and I released it to the world. So let me know what you people think. I'm going to play it right now.
I have to fuck her so she obeys me. I don't give a shit about having sex with beautiful women. I fuck them to me so I can get what I actually want, which is not them. It's a means to an end. Every single Bond girl was exploited. That's exactly what I do. When I watch a Bond film and I see him basically pimp a bitch, to me that speaks to my heart. I've been there. I've done that. Anyone who's followed me long enough knows that I've made my $1 million with a webcam business. I have met beautiful women, good personality, and thought she will make me money. I have to fuck this bitch. I don't want to have sex with her. I just need the money.
Won't you take me to Funky Town? Won't you take me to Funky Town? Won't you take me to Funky Town?
What do you have in your mouth?
Okay, come here, son.
What is that?
So that's the video, okay? That is the core of this story, of this case, okay? And they're claiming that this is the reason why a federal case has to be filed over a video like this. And we've had a federal case already filed over something like this, and that's called Jerry Falwell versus Hustler Magazine. And if anybody saw The People versus Larry Flint, the movie with Woody Harrelson, we learned that at the Supreme Court of the United States, they said that the First Amendment protects satire against public figures, even if the satire causes emotional distress. Because if it didn't, then there would be no First Amendment anymore. People would be forced not to be able to speak by threat of litigation. And that's what Jerm is doing. He's threatening people with litigation. So my point is that maybe the court should see this right away. Maybe Bearded's right. Maybe they won't. Maybe we'll keep these people employed for a little bit longer. I don't know. Maybe because if we go to discovery, I'm going to have a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to come out. The filing argues that Luthmann admitted the media was edited, satirical, composite, manipulated, or altered, and tries to convert that into an admission that the video depicts Hales' likeness in sexual scenarios. That's not what it said. Luthmann's email conferral notice called the move what it is, a retreat from the literal statement. Hales and Shotguns originally told the court the video depicts Jeremy Hales engaging in oral sex with a journalist. Luthmann's position is simple. Identify the timestamp, frame, or portion that literally shows that. If they cannot, the statement is not fact. It is advocacy dressed up as fact. So that's my point. Here's the video. Show me what frame of this video is pornographic or is somebody engaged in a sexual act. Tell me, because there's 1 minute, 60 seconds. What seconds, what timestamps in the video are the ones where Jeremy Hales engaged in a sexual act? Tell me which ones it is, and then we can start to talk. And I had a conferral notice, the email. I'll put this one up there too, because this one is a good one too. I will put that up there. Share this tab. Now this is another one, and there's going to be another motion next week. This was sent yesterday. Attorney Shockett, I write pursuant to Rule 7.1. Okay, defendant's motion to require plaintiff to show cause. So there's no replies as a matter of right, as we know. That's why this whole thing is in the court right now, because I wanted to file a reply to clarify it. And the judges say, no, screw you, Luthmann. And then they say Luthmann's crazy. Screw you, crazy person. Oh, okay. Please advise whether the plaintiff, Hales, consents to a defendant filing a short, limited reply, not to exceed 5 pages, confined to the following 3 issues raised by plaintiff's opposition. First, plaintiff does not defend the literal factual statement at issue. The operative problem is not whether digitally manipulated sexual imagery may be actionable under some statute, in some case under some facts. The issue is narrower. Plaintiff and counsel represented to the court the video depicts Jeremy Hales engaging in oral sex with a journalist. People, did you see Jeremy Hales engaging in oral sex with a journalist just a few seconds ago in this video? That's the crux of this issue. If you think that he was engaging in oral sex with a journalist, that video depicted it, if that video depicted him having oral sex with a journalist, right, then the Jeremy Hales is fine. But if you think that Jeremy Hales is lying, and Shockett is lying to the court, saying that there's the depiction, then it's a problem for him. And I'm asking, how do we test the truth or falsity of those statements? Tell me which portions of the video there is Jeremy Hales engaged in sex with a journalist. If you tell me what portions of the video it is, then we can tell what's there. What do you think, Bearded? What do you think?
I can't tell you because there's nothing. It's all satire, well, you know. And I've seen a lot worse, like on Mad TV and over the years, man. I've seen a lot worse. Even on the Wayans Brothers, even on In Living Color, those shows. Even in regular news on YouTube every day, there's a lot worse. A lot worse. There's nothing to do with real life there at all. And you probably made them a lot of money with those breadsticks too, dude. You know.
Yeah, that's how it works.
At the end, I guarantee they made money off of that. So, I mean, they already made their money, so they should just zip it and move on, because that's a frivolous subject there, man. It really is.
Here is the entire thing in a nutshell right here.
Whatever way you want to look at it, it's just frivolous.
Here is the entire sentence in a nutshell. If plaintiff Jeremy Hales contends the statement is literally true, right, that Hales was engaging in oral sex with a journalist, plaintiff should identify the timestamp, frame, or portion of Exhibit A, the video. That video, which is a filed court document at this point, that depicts Hales actually engaging in oral sex with a journalist. Right. Show us what part it is. And then there's a bunch of other stuff here. In there, he's trying to say that I admit things when I didn't, and he lies, and he does all this stuff. So this it gets boring after that. That's the crux of the issue in this case. And we'll go back to the article. That's the crux of the issue in this case. And the crux of the issue is that Jeremy Hales having sex with a journalist, and it's really not. Okay, so let's see. It said the plaintiff's opposition had shifted from the challenge video depicts Jeremy Hales engaging in oral sex to a softer theory. This is the move that they made. A softer theory about digitally manipulating sexual industry, semantic dispute, and developing law. Okay, so Jeremy Hales engaging in oral sex. That's what they said in the very beginning. That's what it says in the pleadings. And now they're trying to say that there's a change in law, that there's this, that there's that. But the other big issue is Randall Shockett, the pocket rocket. And we have found him to have engaged in dishonesty, it appears. I believe that he's engaged in dishonesty. Now, everybody knows what this is. Look at this, the date on this. 6/16/26. That's yesterday. He filed his document yesterday. Okay? Certificate of compliance, not certificate of service. I hereby certify that on June 16, 2026, I electronically filed the foregoing document with the clerk of court using CM Doc. I also certify that the foregoing document is being served on this day on all counsel of record via email to the service list below. Here's the service, Richard A. Luthmann Jr. Pro Se. There's no email here, right? And I never received an email yesterday, right? I sent him a Hey Randy email saying that I had no record of receiving it. And I'll actually show that because actually it's a very funny email. I write regarding the certificate of service, page 30, right? And I show that certificate of service, right? Certificate of compliance. Oop, what's going on here? Let's make this a little bigger. Perfect. I have no record of receiving Doc 212 by you by email on June 16th. The federal rules require it. They require service of written motions, right? Permit service by electronic means of the court's electronic filing system and other means. It addresses further service. Your certificate represents the court. Doc 12 was served on me by email and asked you to provide proof of service. I'm telling Germ's lawyer, Randy Pocket Rocket Chaka, to prove that he did what he swore to the court that he did. Do you think that's reasonable, Bearded? You think it's reasonable that if a lawyer swears they did something to the court and that you disagree with that, then the lawyer shows proof?
Of course. Why not? I mean, it's he against she, that type of deal. And there's always the other guy. It's like me carrying a camera. There's a truth, there's lies, and then there's a camera I carry around, which I could film stuff. It's the same scenario, you know. And over an email, I mean, that's crazy. It really is. And if they're lying over a simple email, you know, in my opinion, the whole thing is a lie, to be honest with you, you know. And it's been a lie since day one.
Yeah.
I'm not really up on part of all the court stuff, to be honest with you, and I try to stay away from court stuff, but you know, anybody could just see through the, you know, just see through it, see through the bullshit. And if they can't, then join their side and start a YouTube channel and try to make money off of them, because there's a lot of money to be made. And I think that's what the bottom line of this whole deal is people making money off social media. And it's been like that, you know, and it's sick. It really is sick when money and greed takes over your life and, you know, in your beliefs and your family and everything else. It's a sick world, but it happens. I've seen it happen so many times. You know, like I said, I owned a sober house out here. I helped out hundreds of people, addicts and alcoholics, for years. And I've seen the worst of the worst, and I've seen the best of the best. And you know what? It's absolutely, with God, you could get through anything. And with peace, you could get through anything. And I think this whole thing just went to, it's like a bomb was blowing off, you know, and it's war between everybody. But like I said, that's the thing. You gotta, and I feel the same way. Sometimes when I'm commenting on a site, I feel like right away, it's like a lot of times, and I'm with them and I'm saying the same thing. I'm agreeing with them, but right away, it's like everybody's prone to argue with everybody else about this subject. No matter what you say, what I'm trying to say is even on a live, when I make comments, I'm agreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. And
so Bearded, what I'm asking here, I want to tell you what I'm doing here is I'm asking for them to send me the email, right? Or the header, a transaction showing I was served through the ECF, which you can't do because I'm not on it, or any consent that authors service to me by email, because Judge Bolitho never allowed email service in the case. We know that from Super Dave. We know that from me, or any other documentation. And then I asked him if he's going to file a corrected certificate of service and to respond by the close of business today. And then I put on the man right there. And so just to give a little punch on the way in. But that's what I asked him. I did ask him a very reasonable request here. And that's what I asked him. And we'll see what he does. I haven't had anything back yet, but this is going to turn into a bad situation because I'm just going to have to file another motion.
Does it cost you money every time you file a motion?
It costs Jeremy Hales money every time I file a motion.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm gonna have to file three. I have to file one for disability accommodations. I have to file one to allow for a reply, and I have to file a third to strike the opposition because it was never properly served, and that he should be sanctioned by the court because he didn't serve it and he lied about serving it. So I have three motions to file in this case sometime next week. So that'll hit the docket, and we have more to talk about next week.
Holy shit.
Now I talk about senior status, judicial time, and forced retirement. Robert Hinkle's no rookie. He's a senior federal judge in the Northern District of Florida, nominated by Bill Clinton in 1996, confirmed that year, and on senior status since 2016. 10 years he's been on senior status. He was born in 1951, making him 74. He served as chief judge from 2004 to 2009, remains part of the federal judicial machinery. That history cuts both ways. Experience can sharpen judgment. It can also calcify it. Luthmann's arguments now that not that Hinkle is corrupt. I wouldn't say that. I didn't say that. But it's sharper and more dangerous. Hinkle may be acting like the case is an ordinary paperwork while missing the media volcano under his feet. I don't think he knows what's going on, right? I think the guy might not know what's going on. And so I have every right to criticize this man for not knowing what's going on. And I said it on Lisa Lee. If judges are
you're not an attorney right now anyway.
Is ordinary too.
You're not an attorney, so you can do
lies,
that.
Not unhinged personal abuse, but criticism, public criticism, legal criticism, policy criticism. The kind of criticism every butcher, baker, cop, mayor, journalist, school board member, prosecutor, and defendant already.
And candlestick maker.
Right, that's right. I put in some other professions, Robbie, and every alligator hunter. If a judge time is not extraordinary, then a judge's ego is not extraordinary either. That is a healthy rule. It's a very American rule. It's also a rule the judicial class should embrace before the public imposes it more rudely. Then I said, Hinkle makes judicial time ordinary. This is not the Larry Foreman routine. There's a difference between criticizing judicial power and throwing reckless insults at judges. That distinction matters right now because the Halesverse has been orbiting around Kentucky lawyer Larry Foreman, who has made public comments about Florida Judge Craig DeThomasis that raise an entirely different set of issues. Calling a judge a liar without proof is not legal analysis. And that's the point right here. This is totally within bounds criticism on calling a judge out on how he does his job. The same way you would take the butcher, the baker, or the candlestick maker, talk about their job. If the butcher came and the meat was all cut up the wrong way, you're going to tell, or it was rotten, you would tell the butcher, this is rotten. This is cut the wrong way. What's going on here? Yeah, the baker, if you get bread that's doughy and not cooked, that's not. The candlestick maker, he doesn't, the electrician, he comes to your house, the lights don't work. You'd say that to anybody. Judge, what are you doing? You're calling this guy crazy. Is he crazy or is he not? And if he's crazy, then give him everything he's entitled to for being crazy. If not, tell us what's really going on, number one. Number two, the bigger issue, if the plaintiff in this case, Jeremy Hales, is turning this into a media circus, that's his business model, and then Luthmann says, as a defendant, I might as well do it too, aren't you recognizing that the longer this case goes on, it's not a paperwork case. This isn't an insurance company versus an insurance company. It's not a car accident case. It's not one of, this is, the longer this thing goes, the more it's just going to create a media circus that impugns the integrity of the federal judiciary. If they want to have that game being played at their expense, then go for it. I gave them an off-ramp to try to decide this case pretty quickly. Let's look at the video right away. If they don't want to do it and want to play the game, I am ready to play the game. Jeremy Hales has been playing the game for years. So let's cowboy up. And like you said, Bearded, our buddy Randy Shockett's going to be making a lot of money. Every time something's filed, he's going to file 30-page replies. He's going to bill for them. I'll get 3 more coming next week. He can get another 90 pages worth of legal billing out. Randy Shockett should have to send me like a present at this point. He should be sending me like a bottle of wine for making his fucking year. I don't think he's going to be making as much money in the past few years as he's going to be making going forward if this case continues. And imagine we get the discoveries where all the money comes, right? So Judge Hinkle calls Luthmann detached from reality while signing an order caption that names a dismissed defendant. He put John Cook in there. John Cook's been out since April. Okay, I'm the one who's detached from reality. He rejects procedural concerns while the docket itself shows a long history of service fights, email service disputes, return mail, struck filings, default vacator, and repeated deadline management. This is not a simple case. This is a Halesverse debris field. It's a debris field. And Jeremy Hales made it into a debris field. That's what it is. So that's where we are. ladies and gentlemen, with this case. So, yes, I will ask the ugly question. Should federal judges face forced retirement? If this judge can't see what's going on with this case, should he be retired? The Constitution says Article 3 judges hold office during good behavior, not until public confidence evaporates. The longer that he stays on and doesn't realize that this is a media show, the longer he becomes, the emperor has no clothes. Lifetime tenure was designed for independence, not immunity from public scrutiny. Senior status should mean wisdom, not drift. If they're not wise to what happens on the internet, in the media, then how can they be an effective judge, right? Hinkle made judicial time ordinary, fine. Then judicial error is ordinary too. And ordinary public servants gets criticized when they miss what is right in front of them. Okay? And that's the story that we have right here. That's the story that I have today on this. And so that's what we talked about, Bearded. And so what do we have here? How old is Hinkle? Hinkle is 76 years old. He was born in 1950 or 51. So he's like 76 years old. And, the problem is that, is he up on this stuff? Maybe. But, the real issue is why isn't this thing? And Mike Volpe, my partner on the Unknown podcast and journalism partner, says this. And people notice, by the way, I did a costume change. I'm now in Luthmann mugshot picture mode. So this is the look there for the mugshot picture. These are the glasses with my Uncle June, Junior Soprano glasses.
There you go.
But how old is Hinkle? That's how he's old. He's in his mid to late 70s. I don't think he should retire, but I think he should get up on the case and understand what's going on. Remember, Bolitho told John and Michelle they didn't need an attorney because it was an open and shut case. Freaking signs are the cornerstone that no one has examined fully. Yeah, that's very, very true. There's a lot here that people haven't examined. But if they give me the opportunity to have fun with this, then I will. If there are several reasons a judge should be removed from the bench. There are several reasons a judge should be removed from the bench. Good behavior is the one in the Constitution, right? They can be impeached and they can be removed for poor behavior, for cause, if they try to, they take bribes, if they're biased. But yeah, if they're senile, right? If they're like a judge needs to understand what's going on with the case in front of them to be able to be an effective judge. Looks like this thing is passing them by. But also the big issue is bias. If I'm mentally disabled from his own words, and he's treating me in a way that he shouldn't treat me, that's bias, right, Bearded? Doesn't that sound wrong that he should be treating me that way? Should a federal judge be biased against someone's disability?
No, not at all. Not one bit. But little do they know you're one of the smartest dudes I ever met in my life, man. And you can really rail it to them. But that's why they shouldn't be treating you that way at all. And you're in a better spot not being an attorney, doing what you're doing pro se, because you at least you open your mouth about certain issues like with the judges and other lawyers and stuff like that. You're in a good spot. You really are. You're in a great spot right now. And hopefully Papa Trump takes care of you, signs you off.
Yeah, we're working on that. We're working on and this guy, Trump doesn't really like that. The guy who he had the big fight with is DeSantis. This guy, Hinkle, the judge, is the guy on the other side of a lot of stuff that DeSantis tried to put through. Like they tried to ban the gender transition surgery in Florida, and Hinkle struck that down. So Hinkle was like, oh, no problem, get the dick saw. You can go chop off children's penises, dissolve their penises and the genitals. So Hinkle was all about that, and that's a little bit weird. But there's some other stuff too that he was behind that DeSantis was like, fought him. And I know Uthmeyer, the attorney general, has some stuff too. It is what it is. He's a liberal judge. He was on. Bill Clinton appointed him, but he was on the prayer committee, like the White House prayer committee when Biden was the president. So what he was praying, I have no idea. If he's looking for little children's penises to be dissolved, I don't know what God he prays to. The God, I think that sounds like the Old Testament God, maybe Baal or another God like that, because that's what
they signed with AutoPen.
Yeah, the AutoPen president, but the
lawyer.
God,
I mean the judge.
He could be the judge, the God of the Old Testament that recommended or required human sacrifice was Baal. That was Baal. If you read the Old Testament, read Genesis and Exodus and the altar of Baal, all throughout the Old Testament, the Hebrew scriptures, Baal required human sacrifice. The Hebrew God, the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Joseph, the God of King David and the God of Jesus Christ, never required human sacrifice, right? Baal requires human sacrifice. And that we see that everywhere. We see that not only in the dissolving of children's penises, but also in abortion and in other areas that are very, very, areas that I don't want to even get into. It gets political.
No,
But
let's not talk about this shit, man.
read the Bible. If you don't read the Bible, I always say read the Bible because it's all in there about Baal. And there are people out there that walk around today. The Moloch too, right? That's Moloch. Moloch was one of the gods that did that too. Human sacrifice. It was like the Aztecs had their god that required human sacrifices. They're all the false gods. These people worship the false gods. But I digress. So we are on now for about an hour and 20. I'm going to get off in a few minutes, Bearded, because I don't like to go. I don't like to go more.
Yeah,
than an hour.
no, it's all good, man.
I want to ask you what's going on with you. Give you the floor for a couple of minutes. Tell the people what you've been thinking about, how you're feeling about Jeremy, about the world, about anything else. What you doing?
Well, about the world, I think it's screwed up the way people are losing their values in life and jumping on the bandwagons just to make a dollar. I don't really find any kind of satisfaction with that at all. And that's why I'm a warrior 100%. And I have been for a long, long time now. And talking about these poor people, man, let's just say me and John Cook, man, are pretty damn good friends. And I know his whole family, and they're wonderful to me. Marley Hughes, there's a whole bunch. There's a big list, all these people. And for people to attack people that help people, I really have a problem with that because my whole life, that's all I tried to do is help other people out with sober houses, with recovery, with everything else. It's just a shame that it's boiled down to this part. And you're saying the gods and the false gods, and yeah, it's intertwined with everything nowadays. And social media and everything's bringing it out now. For instance, the Epstein stuff. For instance, social media is doing the same thing with Hollywood and everything else. So we got to be on we got to be on the ball when it comes to this corruption and evilness and satanic stuff. Televangelists, and it's true, man. Because if you really follow it, man, it's all about making money. And the more money you put into this, the more money you get back. And a lot of these people are in their upper 80s that are subscribing to these channels. And, I don't know about you, but I would rather have heat than pay somebody else's heat. I come from almost 10 years of being homeless on the street. You've seen a lot of my videos, Rich, and I send tons of them. And that's another reason why I do it. And if I'm doxed to myself, I could care less because I'm proud of the man I became today. It's been a long road, a long 10-year road, man. And it's been hard for me to even walk. I had to learn how to walk, talk, sleep, everything over again. I was in a coma for like 2 months, and it was rough. But I've gone through that. I was in a giant fire. I've gone through a lot of these things.
Yeah.
So I just want to see the result to come out. Nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets thrown in jail, and everybody walks on their merry way and gets along.
Well, and that's the point. That is the point. And made some good points here. They've been fleeced out of the money they need to survive. That's the biggest point, is that there's an issue with Germ, what he does, and he's not a televangelist, because the televangelists have a church or a faith at the center of it, right? And God at the center. He's using his skills he learned as a televangelist in order to promote his secular con. He has a con that he's doing. He's basically fleecing people out of money, and he's not even doing storage wars. He's a merchant of misery. He's done this whole bad neighbors routine. He tries to hurt people. He tries to scare them. He tries to put stress on them. He sues them, right? So this is a terrible, terrible thing. And, oh, here we go. Richard, will you explain what it takes to qualify as a vexatious litigant, and do you have to be pro se to be sued for that? Well, yes, usually it has to be a pro se person. You have to be a vexatious litigant. That means if you come in and you keep on filing all these papers with no legal basis to file the papers, they take away your right to access to the courts. And so they say that you have to get pre-clearance before you file things. The problem that Jeremy has is that he's got a lawyer that's co-signing for him. So I don't think that Jeremy's the biggest culprit here. I think that the biggest culprit here is Randy Shockett. Now, I'm going to make Randy Shockett a lot of money the next little bit, but he's going to be on the edge of potentially losing his law license the same way he lost his dental license back in Missouri because of how he carries on. His behavior is very, very poor, in my opinion, and I think that he may very well lose his law license by the time everything is said and done. He'll make a lot of money, and I have no problem doing that. If that's what the guy needs to do to live, then we'll do that, because that's how we're going to bring Jeremy Hales down. But the first point we're talking about here is Larry Foreman and his bad behavior as a lawyer. The point, it goes from Larry Foreman to his lawyer. Randy Shockett's Larry Foreman's lawyer in a case in Florida, and also his other clients, meaning that Jeremy Hales is Randy Shockett's client, and Megan Fox is Randy Shockett's client, and Tug is Randy Shockett's client. And the case that you talk about, Pebs, is the vexatious litigant. That's a Leslie issue, and I'm not going to discuss that today, but it's this stuff coming on for that. That I'm going to be talking about Leslie and vexatious litigant. There's an issue with that. Germ cannot be sued for that. Just shock it. Well, they can be sanctioned. They can be sanctioned for money, but it's very hard to do vexatious litigant if they're represented by counsel. But it could happen. This is such an extraordinary case that it could happen. That we could bring this to the court, but the problem is the lawyers are supposed to be the gatekeepers and not allow this to happen. But we'll see. John Cook says Randall Shock will be the second dentist lawyer from Missouri to be disbarred from both. We'll see. I copied the Bar Association on that full certification email. I copied the Florida Bar. We'll see. They already know. They've got a bunch of Florida Bar complaints about him. So we'll see what happens. But
John, you're right.
Getting close to 5:30. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to sign off. We're going to leave with my explanation of the law about tu boku damages, the very important class of damages called the tu boku damages. And I hope everybody enjoyed today. Let me know. Get your friends to like and subscribe to my channel. And I have that here. I'll put it up for everybody for a couple of seconds. Luthmann News. That's me.
Subscribe to him, man. Get him up there. Get him up there so he can be monetized.
There it is. At Luthmann News. That's it. So, all right, we're gonna sign off. Bearded, anything you want to say on the way out?
I just want to say to everybody, either side, I think it's about time everybody just stop and just smell the roses. But if you're not going to stop, we'll fight to the end, man. And that's the way it is. I try to be the most peaceful person in the world, but even with me, when you're accused of being making death threats and you're accused of being a homeless, no good, rotten asshole that belongs locked up behind bars, think about that, man. You don't say that about people, man. That's not right. I take great pride in where I came out of the fucking fire, out of the woods, being homeless, had a house, everything else. I'm proud of who I am today. And that's why I'm with you right now, Richard, because nobody's going to stop my amendments, man. That's why I carry this freaking thing around. You guys got to subscribe to me, too. And I'm going to be doing a fundraiser for a vehicle, I think. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But
all right.
Peace in the Northeast, guys. All
right. And on that note, thank you, everyone, and we'll be back soon. Enjoy the outro that we have, the legal explanation of the satirical legal explanation of tu boku damages.
Tu boku.
You see, I have a class of damages called the tu boku damages. And this is a very, very well-known class of damages. And it's a urological condition. And what's happened is the stress that they've caused me has caused my urological condition to enlarge to the extent that I'm too boku. And now there's no women around that want to come near me. They've caused me millions of dollars worth of harm because I'm too boku. The stress that they've caused me has caused me a urological problem that I'm too boku.
Well, I wasn't back in the hospital.
I have physical damages that I'm going to assert at this point because I have to walk around. I have to actually probably get a third leg sewed into my pants now because of all the problems they've caused me. Ever since they started this stuff, you know, I have the two boku damages. I don't know, Robbie. Do you have any of the two boku damages? I have
definitely
damages
suffering from two
caused by
boku.
these people. It's a terrific category. It really is. It's physical manifestation of all their fuckery. It's caused me two boku damages. It's a real thing. Look, so it's a true thing. Robbie will confirm today. You have the two boku damages as well.
100%.
Yeah. Because all this,
Scooter, you have the two boku damages.
Scooter's got them too.
it causes the urological swelling, and it's a terrible urological swell. You know, it's going to get to the point pretty soon. I told you I'm going to have to take all my pants, put a third leg in. I might even have to take it and throw it over my shoulder with a strap. That's how crazy it's going to get. That's what these people have done to me. It's damages. So, liberal construction is not endless indulgence. That is the edge of the lesson. I can live with that edge if the same principle runs both ways. And here it does. Judges are pedestrian. That's not an attack.